Oftentimes, with use of the machine, you have the ability to do the neuro reset, which that's priceless. It is priceless. It's fantastic, and it really helps clients when they need to get over humps or need to have help in one way or another that often you just can't get to any other way.
I'm Garrett Salpeter, and I believe that the most powerful and transformative way to help people recover from pain and injury, heal from trauma, and reach their highest levels of fitness and performance is to focus on the nervous system. In this podcast, we'll share knowledge from the frontiers of neuroscience and inspirational stories of how applying that knowledge has empowered people from all walks of life to heal, adapt, and grow. Welcome to the Undercurrent podcast. This is a special episode, both because we're here in person and because I'm joined by a colleague of mine here at our NeuFit headquarters in Austin, Texas. We have Ed Patterson joining us today. Ed, thanks for being here.
Glad to be here.
All right. So Ed has a very interesting background. Before we met and started working together, Ed was in the home health space and had been going around, treating people, working with people on a mobile basis, physical therapy type setting.
Correct.
And then we met and started working together. But can you just kind of let people know, so they understand your background, where you're coming from, just a little bit about your career, kind of up before we met?
Sure. Going all the way back to 1996, I started with a company here in Austin called Rehabilitation, and was a work capacity specialist, which means I mainly did a whole lot of work comp, industrial rehab type of stuff for different companies to help them manage their work comp cost. Mm-hmm. And that included teaching classes of ergonomic settings, and safe work practices, and all the et ceteras. But as the industry changed, I had to change with it, and got more into the clinic and worked in an outpatient orthopedic setting, and just did a whole lot of exercise specialist specific for physical therapy type of stuff, which means I manage all exercise programs. I progress. I also do not evaluations, excuse me. I also do hands-on work and whatever's needed based upon what the physical therapist has asked me to do. So,
and you'd seen a range of patients. I mean,
absolutely.
Orthopedic, workers' comp, chronic pain, whatever. Okay.
Yes.
And then we met a couple of years ago.
Yes.
And can you tell me, see if you remember back to your first impressions of NeuFit, having been in the industry for 20 plus years at that point, working hands-on with patients. What was your first impression?
I walk in and I was like, sort of doing it just to get my good friend and niece, Kara, off of my back.
Okay, she was kind of urging you to come in and see it, right?
Yes. I thought I knew what she was talking about, but I had no clue. And I was then taken through a session, and the pads and everything put on me, and I was like, this is unlike anything I've experienced. And I had a lot of experience with other type of modalities, including electric stimulation, and loved it already. Mm-hmm. But I didn't know that this was going to be so significantly different, but I could tell immediately. So my eyes were like wide open, and I was like, I'm ready. I'm ready to work with this. This is unlike anything I'd ever experienced before.
Awesome. And so now that you've been on with our team for a couple of years now, and what are some of the impressions or high points in terms of individual patients or clients, or what are some of the things that really stand out to you from those last couple of years?
Well, the first thing I would say is one of the biggest things about the Neubie is that it enhances what you do as a therapist, and what you do in guiding your client. So it doesn't, it's important that you don't take away from any part of what you have learned, because this machine is going to add to it. And so that being said, I mean, just the fact that there's many cases where I'll see a client for the first time and we'll get results right away. Noticeable, meaningful results. Sometimes results good enough that I don't even have to see the client a second visit. Now, that doesn't happen all the time, but I mean, it depends on how long the person has been dealing with their issue or whatever the case might be. But it's just such a difference maker and enhancement to the treatment that you're already given. Like it's night and day from anything I'd done the prior 22 years prior to coming to NeuFit.
Awesome. And of all the people you've seen, what are there any one or two that kind of stand out as being the most like interesting or profound or meaningful experiences or patients?
When I first started here in the fall of 18, or just after I started here, I had a patient that had CRPS that came in.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
Just barely being able to put any pressure on whichever foot it was. I think it was her left foot, but I can't remember. But and was unable to, finish her school. She was in school. She had to drop out of school. She just, her life had just gone to a miserable place, and she was just doing her best to manage. And she would drive here from, I don't know, like an hour every day. And every day that she came. I want to say at the end of about 3 months, maybe 4 months, she was fully functioning. She was able to go back to school, finish whatever she was doing, and now she's working in the field that she had chosen. But what's really is interesting is after her very first visit, she calls us up and she thinks that something's extremely wrong with her body because of the reaction that she had. She did come back because after she got over her initial reaction, which was she was like wide awake all night. Her nerves are all just sort of confused and weird. But she wakes up the next morning and she's able to tolerate air, and she's able to put some pressure on her foot. She's able to do things that she hadn't been able to do since this was an onset. Yeah, it was a couple of years, I believe.
Yeah.
And so she sent me a lot of text, but she came back and she gave it her absolute best effort. So yes, that's a huge story of perseverance and trust, and then also results. So, which is fantastic.
Awesome. Yeah, I remember that was profound. I remember a moment actually when we were sitting in the lobby at the old office, and she came in. I was sitting up there. You were sitting there waiting for her. I think Kara was there, one or two other people on our team, and she came in and had this moment of like, hey, guess what? And I'm like on the edge of my seat. I think we're all like,
yes.
And she said, I'm going back to school.
Yes.
And I remember that. I was
yes.
just like, it was really profound.
Yes.
That was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Mm-hmm. And then recently, in part with COVID and different things that you want to do, we've had a little bit of an evolution in how we're working together. Where you've done taken about half of your work time, and now you're going back into the home health world, going mobile and seeing people in some of the other communities around Austin. So we're half time here together, half time doing this other element of your business. Can you talk to us about how the Neubie is working in specifically in that more mobile home health type of
Absolutely.
business?
Yes. Just recently, I was able to work with a client from Marble Falls who.
About 45 minutes outside of Austin.
Yes.
To the west.
Yes. It's actually it's like an hour and 5 minutes drive.
Even longer.
I've driven it enough,
Okay.
but he was in a motorcycle accident and was severely impaired by the accident and was, had to stay at home all the time. And so within about, I want to say 6 weeks, within about 6 weeks, we had him ambulating without a problem. We had him doing a lot of things that was definitely ahead of schedule, but still on the safe side of healing and all that other kind of stuff. And now it's been 12 weeks, I want to say, and he is back to work doing exactly what he wants to do. Now, work for him is extreme because he does mountain climbing tours and rock climbing tours and stuff like that. So he needs to be able to do a lot of physical stuff, and he's able to do exactly what he needs to do. So his injuries were severe enough that we're still seeing each other because we want to just make sure that everything pans out the way it's supposed to. But right now he's able to do his job as he needs to do it.
That's awesome. I think it's so cool that you're able to work with people, in some of these surrounding areas who, for whom it might not work for them to come in here, certainly not frequently enough to get regular treatment, or sometimes they're impaired or bedridden, or they can't get here because they don't have transportation. So to be able to reach those people, I think is awesome. What's it like, just from a practical perspective, having the Neubie, bringing it to people's homes? Like, how is your experience as a practitioner, bringing the machine and working with people in their homes?
It's been, I thought it would be actually a little more difficult. Like, I thought it would be harder to find places to do things, but I found that you don't need a whole lot of space. It's not hard to carry around. I use a pretty big suitcase so I can get in and out pretty quickly. And it has allowed me to, it looks like I'm carrying a lot, but I set up shop, I set up a clinic in their home, and it has worked out quite well. To have that technology with me, it gives me some answers and some information that I wouldn't have if I didn't have it at all. The main things that I would concentrate on before would be exercise, stretching, and tissue work. And now having this gives me some more ability to do some other things with them that they might need based upon what's going with them at that specific time. Oftentimes, with use of the machine, you have the ability to do the neuro reset, which that's priceless. It is priceless. It's fantastic, and it really helps clients when they need to get over humps or need to have help in one way or another that often you just can't get to any other way. So that's just fantastic, and it's very easy to do.
Awesome. Well, I think it's wonderful. The range of people we're able to see geographically and in terms of types of injuries, types of patients. I mean, it's fabulous. So we're excited to continue working with you. We love having you here, and we also, even though we miss you on the days you're not here, we love having you out doing such good work in the community. And for the little possibly unknown to at least many people listening here, fact about Ed is that he's also a very accomplished singer. So I don't know if we can get a vocal sample.
I don't know if you'd want one right now.
We'll put you on the spot. But I've had the privilege of hearing Ed sing at a few different times.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. So
Thank you.
thank you for all the wonderful work you're doing, Ed. Thanks for joining us on the podcast today.
Absolutely.
It's an honor and a privilege to work with you, sir.
Yes, it's my honor. Thank you.
Very good, yeah. We're excited to keep the great work going. Thank you. Thanks again for joining us.
Absolutely.
And thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Undercurrent podcast.
If you're ready to supercharge your practice, listen to this. Garrett and Team NeuFit have just released a new online course entitled Introduction to the NeuFit Method. In this detailed 8-hour course, you'll gain mastery of the fundamental techniques in our practice, including muscle testing and activations, nerve glides, and joint articulations. You'll also get introduced to our patented direct current stimulation device, the Neubie, an incredible machine that's empowered professionals just like you to help their patients heal, adapt, and grow faster than they ever thought possible. To learn more, go to www.neu.fit/learn. And now back to the show.
Thank you so much for listening to the Undercurrent podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving a review and be sure to subscribe to stay up to date as we release future episodes.